Hi, my name is Carolina Harvey. I'm one of the support geoscientists at Petrosys at our Glasgow office. In this presentation, I would like to show you key features of Petrosys. So I'll start from introducing ourselves, and then in a short demonstration, I would like to show you what actually is Petrosys software and what great things you can do with our mapping and surface modeling modules. And also, I will talk a little bit about our connectivity. We are an Australian company. Our head office is based in Adelaide. Our clients are spread all over the world, and that's why we have offices, support offices, located all over the world. Okay, so let's now open Petrosys. This is the main Petrosys menu. To start Petrosys, you need a project, and you can select it by clicking on this button. I will be working today in Carolina PETEX 2012 project. The core of Petrosys is our mapping module, where we can create presentation quality maps. So open one of the maps created in Petrosys. And what we can see on this map is all listed in the left-hand side here in this window. We've got data for 3 different formations: top Etive, top Ness, and base Cretaceous. And if we open one of them, you can see that these data form layers, which I can make active or inactive by switching them on and off. And I can also move them around depending on where would I like to display and what would I like to display on the top. Okay, so how do I actually display data on this map? I can do it either from the sidebar, toolbar, or I can choose the display menu. One of the great things about Petrosys is that we can display a variety of data. We can display wells, 2D seismic, 3D seismic, grids, contours folds, or shape files. We can also display pictures, raster images, which we can georeference. So I will display at the moment some 2D seismic data. And another great feature, which you can see over here, is our connectivity. So when I click here, I can choose my data. I can display my data from Kingdom or from Petrel or any other applications. I can also display data from OpenWorks, which is a Linux application, and it's Petrosys works between these applications, and it's not a problem for Petrosys to display data from Linux on Windows. So I'll select my Kingdom project, and first thing I will be asked here is what CRS is my data in. So if I click on this button, you'll be able to see Petrosys supports all EPSG CRSs, and you can also create your own your custom coordinates. Okay, so let's now display this data, and if we zoom in on this map, you see my 2D seismic lines from my Kingdom projects are already displayed. If I click now on them and track along them, you'll see that all these numbers here on the bottom of this map, they change. This is because the data is live. That means we can query it, we can QC it, we can see also all the values for Z values for these lines. Okay, so let's display some more data. Let's display, for example, some wells. And this time they will come from my Petrel project. Another thing you can see is that these data are in different CRS, so different from the one from our Kingdom project. But this is, again, not a problem for Petrosys because they can be displayed, computed on the fly, and displayed directly next to my Kingdom data in the right place. Okay, so this is my wells now. They are over here. So anything what I display on this map is listed here in the display list, and it forms a layer here. And while I display little data, it's not a problem to manage it, but if I start to display more data here, it may just become less manageable. That's why we created grouping option, and there are 3 default groups here, and we can display data by either layer type. You can group them by layer type. You can see on my map there are grids, wells, or 2D seismic. You can also group them by data source. So my data come from Kingdom project, but also from Petrel and from other Petrosys projects. I can group them by the CRS, and again I have got my data here in two different coordinates on one map. So now if I zoom in on this map somewhere, let's say over here, you can see the great quality of it, first of all, of Petrosys grids. I can also right mouse button click on any of the layer here. Let's see, I'll right mouse button click on my wells, and you always find handy options here, the most useful operations at your hand. So I can modify the layer or export this data, but at the moment I will show you over post correction. This application allows me to move annotations that have been posted one over another, and this way I can make my map a bit more clear, tidy, and much better readable, much more readable. On this map I can control everything. I can, for example, change the margins of this map. I can change the lines, styles, and the background color. Let's change the background color at the moment. I can also change the custom scale bar. I can easily resize this map by clicking on the boundaries of this box. Okay. And these should be my changes now applied. And you can see the map has changed. This allows me to view the data which haven't been previously in my area of interest, so just how far it extends, for example. Now, Petrosys connectivity doesn't mean that it works only one way. It doesn't mean that I can only display data on this map, but I can also export it to other applications. So as you remember, those 2D lines, they come from my Kingdom project. When I right mouse button click on it now, I can export them, and I'll export them to my Petrel project. Okay, and let's go to Petrel and have a look on those lines. They're here in Kingdom Seismic. I just need to change the settings to be able to view them. So now they are displaying in my Petrel project. I can also export all this map to the PDF format. And this document will keep all my layering, and it will also keep my groups over here. So I can still control them the same way as on the map. I can switch them on and off, and depending on what would I like to present or what would I like to print. I can also make this document geospatially aware. So I can use the geospatial location tool, and as I now move my mouse around this document, you can see that it shows me the latitude and longitude. Okay, so let's now jump to the surface modeling module. In here we process our data, so we can create grids, contours, we can calculate volumes, or we can do some arithmetics on our data. This is a workflow which is built of a few tasks, and they will one by one do some operations on my different data. So let's have a look what they do. The first task creates a grid from my Petrel seismic data. That's a two-way time data. I can also choose and add some more data to this grid, so I can grid from my wells as well, or from my point data. They can come from a text or Excel spreadsheet. And if I choose one of the Excel spreadsheets I have here, you can see that the Petrosys have picked up automatically all the columns from the spreadsheet. But at the moment I'll just use my Petrel lines. Now this grid, in the second task, I will compute using my velocity grid, which have been created before, to a depth grid. And the depth grid I will tie to my wells, which are coming from Petrel project. And then I can compute volumes. I can do it in 3 ways, either from the top base, or thickness grid. I'll choose my top grid for top depth tight grid. And I'll just see if I've got the right reporting here. So I'll report my slices by 20 thickness. I can also use the reference levels. I can type in here my gas and oil contact or my oil and water contact, and I can restrict my calculations to a polygon. This will create automatically a report, which I will show you in a moment. And all this final grid, all the final product of those tasks, I can export to Petrel. Okay, so let's just run all these tasks now. This is an intermediate state of a gridding process, which is just a point data. It allows me to edit them. So now we're creating grid and computing the depth grid, tying to the wells, and computing volumetrics in a moment. And this is my volumetrics report. Okay, so this is my volumetrics report. And what it gives me is total volumes for all polygons. Then it can divide it into different polygons if I had more of them. But in my file, it just consisted one polygon. And then it gives me reports for each slice, volumes. And then I've got all my input data listed over here below. This report comes up in an HTML file format, which means that it can be read through everyone. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter if they have Petrosys or not. It's still accessible for everyone. Okay, so coming back to the surface modeling module, we've done all our tasks now, we've run them. So let's see the output in the Petrel. And if I scroll down here, I've got my Petrosys grids. And if I switch them on and off, you can see that they appear on the bottom in my grid over here. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you today. Now let's just go and summarize it all. So what is the advantage of using Petrosys? Our map making module is easy to use and it creates high quality outputs. It's also CRS aware. That means that you don't have to worry about CRS anymore. Petrosys will compute your CRSs on the fly. Our surface modeling module can create realistic grids and can handle also very large grids. And you can create workflows where you can organize all your processes. Connectivity is one of our great advantages as well. It allows you to direct connect to all your data, and it also converts all the CRSs on the fly. So thank you very much for your attention.